A special needs teenager came home from school with this mark on his side. His mother says she sees a swastika, and others do too. The family's Jewish. The teen wears a yarmulke, the traditional head covering. Only on Fox 5, his mother tells us she was so scared for his safety, she pulled him out of class. With the CCSD police investigation still open and the Anti-Defamation League calling for action, a mother wants answers. What happened? And asks, who did this to her son?
That looks like a swastika. I was scared and angry. I didn't know if it was safe to send my son to school. I thought he was safe.
Mom asked us to conceal her family's identity for their safety. Her 18-year-old son with autism, who's mostly nonverbal, came home from Clark High School with this mark on his side. She says it looks like a swastika. The family is Jewish. The teenager wears a yarmulke, the traditional head covering, every day and to school as well. With his limited speech, Mom says he couldn't describe what happened, but after that day, he was scared to go in bathrooms. He has a service dog, and she found his service dog's treat satchel broken into as well. After filing a report with CCSD police, Mom pulled him out of school.
It's turned his life upside down right now. It's really scary, and I think people are afraid to talk about it.
There's definitely a lot of hate out there in the world. It's heartbreaking. I think the perpetrator is cowardly to pick on someone who can't speak for themselves.
The family asked Rabbi Levi Harleg, who leads Chabad of Southern Nevada and Friendship Circle, supporting students with special needs, to help intervene. He's been in touch with CCSD and school police, pushing for answers on what he worries is a possible hate crime. He says he's been frustrated waiting for answers.
If it was your own son, your own child, you'd want to get to the bottom of it, and you want to get to the bottom of it quickly. Anti-Semitism is real. It's ugly. There's a lot of evil out there. But again, we don't fight hate with hate. We have to focus on being a beacon of light.
This is by far one of the most egregious incidents that I have seen take place in our community. We want to make sure that every student goes to school and is able to feel safe and protected. This is not the first incident that we've had within school district.
Jolie Breslin, Nevada Regional Director of the Anti-Defamation League, also reached out to CCSD to discuss how the district can work to spot anti-Semitism among students and spur education among students and staff. CCSD released this statement. CCSD police conducted a thorough investigation, including interviews with staff and a review of available camera footage. The investigation found no evidence that would indicate the origin of the injuries. Additionally, other law enforcement agencies reviewed the information. CCSD is inclusive of all races, ethnicities, cultures, religions, beliefs, sexual orientations, gender identities, socioeconomic statuses, abilities, and living arrangements. We will not tolerate discriminatory behaviors.
It makes me angry that my son doesn't get to have a normal, safe education right now.
CCSD says they urge anyone with information on this to contact school police immediately. The family and others are also asking, if you have details, please contact the Anti-Defamation League or the FBI.